One Boston Celtic is breaking down this Miami Heat team, and Nikola Jovic has noticed it. He says that Kristaps Porzingis has been a mismatch and an X factor for the Boston Celtics to take on this team, and we'll be breaking down that. Plus, we'll be looking how Erik Spoelstra gives Derrick White his praise and how Derrick White has been one of the most underappreciated players this season. All of that and more on this episode of Celtics Digest. I'm Bruce Veliz. But before we dive in on all this Boston Celtics news, 65% of our viewers are not subscribed. So we'd greatly appreciate it if you guys hit that big old red subscribe button, as we are trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the Celtics playoff run. So that helps out with you guys. And make sure to come out to the stream tomorrow, as we'll be doing a live watch along breaking down Game 2 between the Boston Celtics and Miami Heat. But without further ado, let's dive into the video at hand. Make sure to grab a snack, as it is going to be a jam-packed episode. And the first topic that we're going to be diving in is Nikola Jovic calling out a mismatch with a new Boston Celtics. And like I said in the introduction, Nikola Jovic is saying that Kristaps Porzingis has been the key difference maker for this series, for this season, for the Boston Celtics. And we'll be looking at that. First, we're going to be diving in, looking at this quote here from Naveen Ganglani, saying that last year was easier for the Heat because we didn't have Porzingis. I think our zone made a lot of problems for them, and I think it can make a lot of problems this year too. But with Kristaps Porzingis in that lineup, he can stretch the floor and shoot almost over everyone, and it's really, really hard to guard him. And that was from Nikola Jovic there, saying about the Boston Celtics, talking about Kristaps Porzingis and how he's been such a big factor for this team. And if we want to look at Kristaps Porzingis in the 3 games versus Miami Heat this season, he has been a bona fide superstar. 25 points, 19 points, 17 points, 9 rebounds, 1 rebound game with only 4 rebounds, but A-OK. Almost a double-double in 2 of the games versus the Heat this season, shooting above at least 57% from the field goal, and 1 game shooting 33% from 3, but the other 2 games shooting a solid 50 and 75%. Man, oh man, has Kristaps Porzingis been the difference maker. And I talked about this in our last video when I was breaking down how he is the solution versus the Heat. I was bringing that up, how he has been such a key piece for them. Bam Adebayo, now with no Jimmy Butler, is the main ingredient for the Miami Heat, and he's been a big factor for the Boston Celtics because he is such a great defender. I know I talked about this with Houston, but he is kind of like a free safety. He can go play at the guard position. He can help out down low, and he's so switchable, so easy to play through 1 through 5 that he can help out. And that was a key problem for the Boston Celtics, was that if they were to run some screens, run into the zone, Bam Adebayo would just collapse on him with Jimmy Butler or help out on that help defense, and guys like Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown would get stuck and get trapped and then force turnovers, or the Heat would get some steals and run away with it. But adding Kristaps Porzingis, now the Heat can't run Bam Adebayo as that free safety. They got to make sure that he is guarding a guy in Kristaps Porzingis, making sure that he is sticking to him and sticking to that game plan. And even though the Celtics want to try and run Kristaps Porzingis the same way, they want to have him be able to stop Bam Adebayo. It didn't really work in last game, in Game 1. Bam had 24 points. It was working for our guy, Kristaps Porzingis. We want to look at Kristaps Porzingis' stats. In the 34 minutes, he was 7 for 13 from the field, 4 for 8 from three-point range, with 4 total rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 2 blocks, and a total of 18 points, with a plus-minus of plus 17. So again, like in the games during the regular season, Kristaps Porzingis shot above 50%, shooting 7 for 13, 50% from the three-point range as well, and just dominated. Not as many boards, kind of similar to the second matchup. Only 4 for Kristaps Porzingis, but 2 rebounds and a steal is a big-time thing. We need him to play on both sides of the ball. We need him to lock down on defense and help out with the Heat trying to getting to the rim, but also being able to stretch out and hit that three-pointer. And like I mentioned, he did that. 50%, 4 for 8 from three-point range, absolute sniper. And he hit some tough threes as well. Let's not forget that Kristaps Porzingis had that three here. He was absolutely smothered, took a nice step back as the shot clock was draining, and swished that shot. He had a phenomenal first half for the offensive side. In the second half, we didn't really utilize him that much. We were up 20, up 30. We were kind of using some of our other guys. But when it came down to it in the end, Kristaps Porzingis was still used as a lethal threat. And I do believe that Kristaps Porzingis is the difference maker in this series. He is the X factor. With no Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo is their best player. And having Kristaps Porzingis being able to neutralize them and take them all on the defensive side really helps for guys like Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, even Sam Hauser being able to cook up from the wing position, and guys like Derrick White and Jrue Holiday being able to score from three-point range. Kristaps Porzingis is the solution versus the Heat. Let me know what you guys think down below all about Kristaps Porzingis. We are expecting another big game from him from Game 2, and I can't wait to break that down for you guys. But let's dive into the next topic, which is some Derrick White praise. And if you guys know over here on Celtics Digest, we have been giving Derrick White that shining praise ever since the off season. Derrick White was snubbed from ESPN's top 100, and people are going to say that list is for clicks, and I know it is. But even JJ Redick knew, and even myself and Josh broke it down, saying how it was absolutely blasphemous that a guy like Derrick White was not on the top 100 list for the NBA. Well, ladies and gentlemen, he is going to get the respect that he deserves now. If we want to look at this tweet from Taylor Snow here, Derrick White is tied for the most votes in the league's most underrated player category of this year's Athletics NBA's player poll. His backcourt mate Jrue Holiday also finished third. And if we want to look at those names on that list, Derrick White is atop the list, tied with Jalen Williams. Jrue Holiday is third. Then Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, De'Aaron Fox, Brandon Ingram, Franz Wagner, and the list goes on. I think that Derrick White being up there along Jalen Williams makes sense. Now, Derrick White has obviously been fantastic for the Boston Celtics, averaging around 15 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, getting better shooting numbers than he has in his career. All of his stats are pluses, and he's playing with better players as well. He's playing with Kristaps Porzingis. He's playing with Jrue Holiday, guys that would be taking away shots, being able to take away minutes. But Derrick White has been locked in since the beginning of the season, ladies and gentlemen. Derrick White, once Marcus Smart was gone, when Malcolm Brogdon's name was in the air, he was scheduled and was presented to be that starting point guard for the Boston Celtics going into the offseason. And he prepared for that. He knew my role is going to be called up. I'm going to have to be a bigger focal point in this offense and defense, and I'm going to take that responsibility. I'm going to take that, and I'm going to work my butt off in the gym. And that is clearly shown this year, because even though the Celtics got Jrue Holiday late into the offseason and he was brought in, Derrick White has been a difference maker. He has been that X factor alongside guys like Kristaps Porzingis. And his growth with this team has really bolstered our squad. Derrick White on both sides of the floor for about 85% of the season was the most consistent player for the Boston Celtics. Yes, he had some nights where he went cold and he couldn't hit some threes. Yes, but there were nights where he woke up in the fourth quarter in January versus the Pelicans and single-handedly won us that game, hitting 4 or 5 three-pointers in that quarter. And don't even talk about the defensive side. Man averages a block and a steal per game. He is a lock in my eyes for an all-defensive team, and the fact that he's not even in contention for Defensive Player of the Year is absolutely abysmal. And a guy like Eric Spoelstra also thinks so, because this tweet is from Jose Pavon, who does a fantastic job covering the Celtics alongside Bobby Manning. But he said that Eric Spoelstra says Derrick White is one of the most underrated players in the NBA. So he even understands it, like this list, like the Athletic. Jalen Williams, you got to give him his credit as well. He's been a fantastic player for the Oklahoma City Thunder, really transcending as that third star. In my honest opinion, I didn't know that he would be able to take off like that, and he certainly has. And then we want to give some credit to Jrue Holiday as well. 7.1%, a guy who's had a big name playing on a bunch of franchises, but has taken that reduced role with this Celtics squad to ensure the winning and plays a fantastic role. Didn't have the greatest game one, shooting-wise and scoring-wise, but man, oh man, did he help out on the defensive side. Got to give the credits, got to give the props to these guards. Let me know what you think down below. Do you guys think about Derrick White? Where would you guys rank him on the ESPN list? What number are you projecting Derrick White? I'm going to give him top 65 for sure. Let me know what you think down below in the comment section. And lastly, before we head out, as you guys all know, it is the comment of the day. Like I've been preaching this whole video, drop your thoughts down below so you can be picked for comment of the day here. And we got a special comment on our last video from our guy DeMarcus Cousins Sr. Shout out to you for dropping the comment saying, hate to see it, but if the Heat had actually tried in the regular season, they might have made it past the first round and got him back in time to play the Celtics. And DeMarcus Cousins Sr., I couldn't agree more with you. I know that the Heat did have some injuries throughout the season. Jimmy Butler was dealing with some injuries. Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero, a bunch of their role players were hurt. Terry Rozier's hurt right now. But the Heat were 33-27 with Jimmy Butler this season. This team was not the team that it was the last couple years ago. It's had some younger guys bringing in with Jovic and with Jaime Jaquez Jr. And this type of team is not built for the playoffs. Like you mentioned, they had tried in the regular season. If they had pushed, they could have been in that 4-5 matchup. If they had won their division, they would be in that 4-5 matchup versus Cleveland right now. It would be not coasting, but be able to at least handle them and not have to go against the Boston Celtics. And like you mentioned, would have faced the Celtics in the second round, and it definitely would have been scary for our squad. I know that I definitely did not want to play the Miami Heat. They were the one team I wanted to avoid in the play-in. Even though I felt confident we could beat them all, they were the one team I was most worried about. Obviously, losing Jimmy Butler definitely hinders how they're going to handle the Boston Celtics, but they still are a tough team. And like we saw in the fourth quarter, they can have guys like Dalano Wright turn up, hit 5 threes, and make this game interesting. So don't be shocked if the Heat give the Celtics a scare or a ride for their money in a couple of these games going down the end. But I do believe our Boston Celtics are going to get this series done in 4, in 5 for sure at this moment. But let me know what you think down below in the comment section. Thank you guys for tuning into this episode here on Celtics Digest. I'm Bruce Veliz. I'll catch you guys in the next video and hope to catch you guys in the stream tomorrow night breaking down the Boston Celtics live watch along versus the Miami Heat. Have a great rest of your day, guys. Have a great rest of your night. Peace out.